Hello friends, welcome back to On Location Vancouver. I'm your host Zara Durrani. The show is produced with the generous support of TELUS Story Hive. I am honored and humbled to be here at the Vancouver Art Gallery, one of North America's most dynamic visual arts institutions, to sit down with Sirish Rao, an internationally recognized arts leader, writer, and cultural innovator. From co-founding the Indian Summer Festival to co-leading the gallery as co-CEO, Sirish has redefined how we experience art and culture, championing creativity, collaboration, and community. We'll be exploring his journey from Bangalore, India to Vancouver, Canada, his bold vision for the arts, and the ways in which storytelling continues to connect people across the globe. Let's go in. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Zara. Thanks. It's so lovely to speak with you. As you say, our paths and our work have intersected over the years, so delight.
Really incredible, all the work that you're doing, Sirish. Now, with everyone who comes on the show, I like to to go back in time a little bit, because you were not born in Canada.
That's right. I was born in Bangalore, in the south of India, and pretty much grew up in this city. And I often think that the way I work, or the way what's influenced me, has been that period. That time of growing up, when I grew up, India was a socialist nation. Still, just after, it was a post-colonial moment as well. The British had left, not 3 decades before. We had a lot of ties with Russia. I grew up with Russian children's picture books. So the Baba Yaga the Witch and Cossack Mamaria.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes, but also Enid Blyton and all the legacy of the British. And of course, my grandmother telling me oral stories of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So all of these very different cultural influences coming together really gave me a sense of the world being a complex, multilingual, multifaceted place where not everybody thought the same. And then, of course, that very city went on to become this tech center of India, like it's now a Silicon Valley. And the speed of urbanization, the speed of technological change, has sort of had a ringside seat to that. And when I think of the world we're in now, which is so changing, so fluid, where innovations and changes in society and technology are also galloping. We're at that moment where we really don't fully understand AI. It's become a factor of our lives, and yet we're trying to make sense of it. All of this gives me that feeling like I've been here before. Yes.
That's so incredible, and you've lived certainly multiple lives. You've been called a risk taker, a risk embracer, and a cultural innovator. What do those words mean to you?
So, to some extent, risk is that thrilling thing of being able to accept that you might fail, but fail spectacularly. And I think there's such a lesson to be learned from beautiful, grand failure. And I don't mean failure. When people often speak of failure, they think of it as a bad thing. And if you think of it like that, if you think of it as the opposite of success, then I think you don't take risks. Because if you're inherently afraid of the possibility that what you think might not end up being what you want, then you are not going to take risks. You're going to want to maintain the status quo. And to me, risk-taking is about embracing the possibility of failure, in fact, seeking failure as a teacher, but also that whether you're a human being, whether you're a work of art, sometimes it's the flaws that are beautiful, that make something so special. And so I see risk-taking very much as an exploration of all those things, of fault lines, of flaws, of possibilities, of perspectives you haven't considered at all. And so it is a kind of appetite for the unknown. So when people are prescribed a visit to the Vancouver Art Gallery, this is the exhibition they come up to, Emily Carr's landscapes. What is amazing about this is that if you look at the paintings that we have in this room, and our curator of this exhibition, Dr. Richard Hill, always says, these are landscapes, but you'll see they're actually all mostly in portrait format. These are actually individual portraits of trees that Emily Carr has painted. So this this is an urban forest bathing experience. And what we do is we invite people to really sit down and slow look and really participate with all your senses. So there's a guide that prompts people to say, how does it smell in the forest? What do you hear? How do the trees move? And really invites participants to slow down and look at a painting with the quality of attention that the artist would have had. And that's really important. We find that the research shows it's not only time you spend in nature, but the quality of attention you have, because you could be in a forest on your phone or not observing anything. What we're hoping to do is get people to really slow down, lower those cortisol levels, find a different breathing pace, and engage with art in a meaningful and healing way. And this really helps with so many things. We find that studies have come in that people who visit regularly, twice a year if you visit a museum, your cortisol levels on those visits comes down by about 30%. It's incredible. So what we're doing here is really to let people know that the gallery is a space of healing. One of our trustees, Hank Bull, put it so beautifully when he said it's a hospital for the soul.
Very well said, and this is such a beautiful, beautiful space. I feel very attached to it. Also knowing that, there is a project, if you'd like to tell our viewers.
Yeah.
Obviously, this used to be the law court.
That's right.
We have filmed here many TV shows.
Yes.
I forget what is the law show that was being filmed in Vancouver. They would come and film here all the time, and I had no idea this was part of the art gallery, but it's a stunning, gorgeous building here in Vancouver. So can you tell us a bit about that project, about the transition?
Yeah, so I mean, as you know, this is a beautiful neoclassical building, but as you say, it was a law court. It wasn't designed to be an art gallery. And this is often the legacy of many art galleries and museums around the world. They were built in what were fortresses or palaces or courts of justice with a lot of might, with a lot of pomp. And very often people come into these spaces and they don't necessarily feel comfortable. There's a sense in a way that you're being dominated by the architecture. Our work in the art gallery every day is to soften that architecture, is to widen the doors and create a bigger welcome. And some of the things that we're doing to do that is, for example, we have our first Free Friday nights where people can come to the gallery for free on the first Friday of every month, and the lineup is around the block. So you see there is a desire to come in here, or it's free for kids and youth under 18 all the time. And so that's another invitation to say, come on in. It's always free for Indigenous people. And recently, I'm very thrilled about this, on World Health Day, we announced a program where doctors can now prescribe a visit to the art gallery, and we honor that prescription with a free visit for the person prescribed and a guest, so that they're not alone. And this really is backing up the research that has come in to say that visits to galleries and museums reduces social isolation, reduces your anxiety, and improves your well-being. And at a time when the mental health crisis is so rampant, this is something that we can do as the gallery to say, come here, this is a place of sanctuary, this is a place where you can feel surrounded by art and by people. So these are all the ways in which we're softening the space and extending the welcome. But the opportunity we have now is to build an art gallery for the 21st century that is free from the baggage of the fortress, the palace, the 20th century. And that opportunity we have just down the road on Georgia, next to the Queen Elizabeth Theatre. The city has a site for us, and we're working with two architects who we just announced, Alfred Waugh of Formline Architecture, who's an Indigenous firm here in North Vancouver, and Bruce Kouabara, who leads KPMB, which is a big national firm that has done a lot of museums. And this combination of these two architects, Alfred often says that as an Indigenous architect, he's really thinking about place in a very deep way of like, what are the stories of here? And Bruce, whose family is Japanese Canadian, his parents were interned in BC during the war, and for him, this is a very personal thing to do. So to have the two of them redefining and expressing what is Canadian cultural identity at this time, and it's going to be the largest, cultural project that the city has seen in decades, in a generation. So it's a very exciting proposition.
Completely. I would love to hear where exactly, I know you mentioned it started with the World Health Day, but what was the inspiration behind the Art of Wellbeing Lab, and what have you seen? What sort of feedback have you received?
Well, the inspiration really is, to know, many of us know, those of us who love the arts, instinctively that art heals. Think that when a child cries, the first thing a parent will do to soothe the child is to sing to it, right? And so your lullaby is almost the first healing art that you get. But we all have soundtracks to our lives, a favorite film, a book that reassures us. That we know instinctively, but now more and more the science is coming in to show that it actually reduces your levels of cortisol. It can increase your lifespan to be surrounded by art. People who engage in art activities are more likely to have strong, meaningful relationships. Teens who are at risk when they experience art are more likely to integrate in society. So these are all such positives that scientists are now backing up what I think older cultures knew all the time. When you speak to indigenous elders, they'll be like, of course, art is healing.
So anyone can, say, call up their doctor or walk into a clinic and say, this is what I would like to try, or I'm not feeling so well. I would appreciate receiving a prescription to experience the art gallery.
Yeah, so we teamed up with a program called PARX, which is a nature prescription program. This is an amazing nationwide program. So doctors registered with PARX, which is the Parks, it's like Park RX.
Yes.
And this was co-founded by Dr. Melissa Lamb, who's very well known in this area. And they've been prescribing nature visits to people. And what we've done is to prescribe a visit to the Emily Carr room in the Vancouver Art Gallery, which is kind of her landscape painting, so it's like an urban forest bathing experience. And we've added that, and this is such a BC, Vancouver thing, that you have an outdoor park, an indoor nature experience, and it's contributing to healing. Like, this is an innovation that hasn't really happened anywhere else in the world, and so we're very proud to say we're the first time that a nature prescribing and an art prescription program is coming together.
I'd like to talk about the Center for Global Asias. It sounds fantastic. What does that initiative mean to you personally, and how does it connect to local and the global cultural narratives?
Well, the Center for Global Asias at the Vancouver Art Gallery really comes out of the recognition that in Vancouver, the local is the global, right? And if you look at who makes up the city, we all, the two of us here included, act as cultural bridges. We are people who can live and translate worlds, and that's a richness. That's a richness not every city in the world can take for granted as we do here. We have such a diverse population, and the gallery for many years has been showing and collecting Asian art. But we realize that also that's more than 35% of the city. And not everyone has been to this gallery. Not everyone knows of the work we're doing. So the Center for Global Asias previously existed as the Institute of Asian Art, as an area of research and focus. But now it looks across the map from research to exhibitions to public programming, a way to amplify the global and local connections we have. So two of the exhibitions I mentioned to you before are part of that initiative, really to amplify those voices. And Asia is when you talk about Asia, you're talking about a big category. People don't realize, it's most of the earth, really, and it's diaspora. So we really take a broad Pan-Asian view. So we have had work by diasporic artists from Japan, from China, from India, from Iran, and also folks who are local from those diasporas.
You have been named to Vancouver Magazine's Power 50 and received both the King Charles III Coronation Medal and a Lifetime Achievement Award. That's incredible.
Thank you. No.
How does it feel to have your work recognized to that level?
It's really lovely to have recognition. I mean, you often do the work because you have no other choice, really. I mean, it's a way of being in the world, right? I think I've done a lot of what I said. I mean, you called me a risk embracer before, and that's been it. You kind of chase that glimmer of opportunity that by following this question or by answering this question, you might go somewhere. And that's really what starts it off. Recognition comes at the point where you realize, over time, following this question or asking these questions, you seem to have built something. And that something could be tangible, like an institution. It could also be intangible, but important, like community. And I do feel very honored to get those recognitions, because that means that I arrived here without knowing anyone, except for my wife in this community here. And I feel very embraced by it and very much part of it. And that's something I feel grateful for.
So tell me about who did this.
So this incredible work is Jim Lambie, who's an artist from Glasgow. He really does these site-specific installations which respond to the architecture of the place. So each place it's completely different. There's one at the National Gallery in London, again, responded to what it was, but it creates almost this fluid, very performative space, because he's also a DJ. And this is one of the works that is curated by my co-CEO, Eva Respini, who joined us from the MoMA and brings this incredible global energy to Vancouver and to this institution. So this is our way of giving people also this burst of color and joy at a time when, the city's turning a bit gray. We see people coming in here. We've had dance parties here. We see people really interacting with this. And the conversation between this work and this architecture really makes it special.
Amazing. I love the colors. And yes, on a gray day, on a rainy gray day, what a beautiful place to come and
next time we do a dance party here, you should join us.
Please, I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
So this is the magical, I won't even call it an exhibition, it's a magical world created by Shigeru Otani, who goes by Otani Workshop. And he creates this magical world of almost invoking a state of dreamlike, childlike innocence through his ceramic works.
Beautiful.
So
and how long will this exhibit be on till?
This is on until January.
Okay.
And you can see, it really is, there are forest sprites, there are paintings, there's even the story of his life here, which we've turned into a children's book. So there's a publication accompanying this as well. But this is one of those exhibitions that I think that really appeals multi-generationally. You see children coming in here on school tours and they're completely engrossed. And you see older folks coming in here and really engaging with the meaning behind it. So.
I remember the first time you were taking me through this exhibit, mentioning also the monsters. There's the innocence and that was my first time experiencing this. It moved me. Yeah. It moved and stirred up something inside of me.
Yes.
You have served on many boards, again, taking a look, very inspiring. I don't know how you find time to do all of this, from the Vancouver Foundation to SFU and the Chance Center. What drives you to keep giving back to the community in so many ways?
It's a sense of wanting to be part of an ecosystem. I don't think any of us individually can be well if society is not well. I don't think any one arts institution can thrive if the entire ecosystem is not thriving. It doesn't seem to me possible. You need to be invested in the whole of community around you, the whole ecosystem around you. So I figured that in the course of taking these risks or innovating, I've learned a few things that I can help, and you often find that you can share and help each other. And I found that many people in this city do that, and it's volunteerism is a very, very meaningful way to be part of community.
Completely. Before we let you go, what would you like our viewers to know about the Vancouver Art Gallery?
Well, I mean, all I can say is a very warm welcome. I do hope those of you who are watching will take this invitation to walk in here, to see the art on display, however you choose to do that, whether it is your family coming on a weekend and dropping into one of our classes at our making place where you can make art yourself, or it is, coming to one of our openings or a talk that we do. There are so many ways to engage with the gallery. As you said, even come to the bistro, have a coffee with a friend,
yes.
Fall into art that way. The pathway you get to art doesn't matter, but you'll find that once you do, it's a relationship that will keep giving you. So it's just a very warm welcome, and I hope to see you at the gallery soon.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your time, Sirish. I know you're really busy. You've been in meetings back to back. Thank you so much for making time for us.
My pleasure. Thanks for starting my morning off with such a lovely conversation.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sirish Rao reminds us that art isn't just about what we see, it's about how we connect. His vision for the Vancouver Art Gallery invites us to imagine a world where creativity fuels empathy and storytelling bridges communities. Until next time, I'm your host, Zara Durrani, and you're watching On Location, produced with the support of TELUS Story Hive. Thank you for joining us for this episode of On Location Vancouver. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please scan the QR code and someone from our team will be in touch. We'll see you soon.